Welcome to our Board of Directors Special Board Meeting, May 24th, 2024. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We expect this to be a relatively short meeting, just 4 topics, but appreciate you all joining us on a hot Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Paul, if you'll take roll, certify the quorum. And
Okay, we have Joe Mulcahy, Nathaniel Monks, Brian Caden, Jim Carter here present, and we have Eve Wilbur and George Custis on Zoom, and Matt Barger calling via speakerphone. So we have the whole quorum, and this was posted in accordance with Florida statute.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So we got 4 items, 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll jump into the first one, which was a variance request in Watercrest. Information on this issue. Talked to the attorneys, and it's already been sent to the board for review. Paul, do you want to kind of give a brief overview? And I know the homeowner is here and
So there's a homeowner in Watercrest. Her name is Donna Sterling. She is doing an addition to her home, and she initially put in the plans to get approved and put in the application, and it was approved. It followed our DRC guidelines. However, what wasn't part of our guidelines is part of the county PUD and Pelican Marsh requires that setbacks from the property line had to be at least 15 feet. So the county came back and said, well, she can't continue unless an approval be given by the foundation to allow less than 15 feet. And so that's why we're here today.
Okay. All right. Before we have any dialogue, would you like to come up to the microphone and introduce yourself? Or...
Absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Donna Sterling.
You gotta make sure you bring the microphone up so they can hear you on Zoom.
There's people on Zoom, so
Go ahead and have
sorry.
a seat. Go ahead and have a seat. I'll help you.
Make it comfortable.
Yeah, the people in line can't hear you unless you're talking to that.
Hi, my name is Donna Sterling and I reside at 2354 Cheshire Lane. And I'm asking you all to grant a variance for me. And also I'd like to start, I brought a visual, which I think is very important for everyone to look at. I don't know if the people online can see that, so I could easily go over and get it.
I'm afraid that people online will not be able to see that no matter where we put it.
Okay, well, maybe we could email them a picture or bring this so everybody can see it, because the yellow lines on that board join the survey markers, and they show where the proposed building is going to be. And as you can see, it's well set back from my neighbor, who is very far forward of the setback lines. My building, the lot is actually on an angle, so I followed the angle of the lot, and my building is on an angle. So it's very important to note that only one part of the building is at 12.3 feet. So the setback is 15. It goes on an angle, and by the end of the building, I'm 19.4 feet setback. I am 25 feet from the back of the curb, which is what the covenants really are. I would also venture to say that you're never going to notice this 2.5 feet, because if you look at the photograph, I'm well set back, and my neighbor is well set forward. In fact, he is over the line, and I would say that he sets the precedence because he's less than 15 feet from the curb. You're never gonna notice this 2.5 feet, and the 2.5 feet is on a garage, so it's a big deal on a small garage to have 2.5 feet. I purposely put the building on an angle so it would fit into the angular lot and look terrific, actually. My neighbor kept the angle of his home, and then what he did was, he took his garage and he straightened it out, so therefore he's very far forward. I don't have the exact measurement, but I think he's about 13 feet. Interestingly enough, the ARB board came out and looked at all the setbacks. And in fact, Mr. Carter, who is on your board, he approved the setbacks. He voted against. No, it is correct. He voted against the approval, but he was well aware of the setbacks, and the setbacks were never, ever brought up. He was against the project for his own personal reasons. He does not want any development in Watercrest, period. He does not want to change the character of the community, so,
I think if you just keep everything to the facts of what you're asking for, as
okay.
opposed to helping somebody personally.
Well, I think that it really does pertain to this situation. The Board of Watercrest unanimously approved my project, and so did the ARB. The board decided, by the way, after getting legal advice, that I was inclusive of all the Watercrest guidelines. The rest of any objections were subjective. And also important to note that the ARB approved my project for a second time with the proposed setbacks. And I believe that the board of Watercrest would have approved them also, but were told not to vote by Pelican Marsh. More importantly, and I mentioned this.
Pelican Marsh indicated they should not be voting. Are you?
That's
implying
correct.
Somebody from the foundation indicated that?
Well,
instruction?
yes, it was scheduled for a vote, and then the vote was canceled because it was to come before the board of Pelican Marsh.
But that doesn't mean we gave direction.
Oh, no, but it comes under our jurisdiction is probably what they mean.
Yeah.
It does come under our jurisdiction. Okay,
well-
let's continue talking about your house and the plans.
Okay, more importantly, the ARB, and the reason why I know Mr. Carter is because he's on the board, was not aware of the PUD documents. That's no fault of his, but he was not aware of the PUD documents, nor was the Board of Watercrest or the people on the ARB. So I have to say that there's a defect in the Pelican Marsh documents somehow, because I've studied them, and I studied them before I did this project. The county has come back to me with a requirement to have the PMDRC grant an exception for my setback of my garage. Now, the only required setbacks in Watercrest are also clearly stated in the Pelican Marsh documents. 12.6 in Watercrest setbacks apply to principal or accessory structures. Otherwise, setbacks are 25 feet from the back of the curb to the valley gutter. I am on my plan. Section 9, planning and design criteria. Those are the Pelican Marsh documents. 9.1 setbacks. Minimum setback requirements for a detached residence on a single family home site are established by the DRC for each neighborhood. See neighborhood guidelines within this document. I've been clear what the Watercrest guidelines are. the county has come back to me. And they have said, and this is from the senior planner of the county. So this must be something that happens all the time, because she quickly wrote back to me and said, the language in the PUD, which the county reviews that specifically asks for a letter from the Pelican Marsh Design Review Committee. You will need to reach out to them first for the letter. If they bounce it back to your individual subdivision review board, please include that correspondence as well with your approval. Now, the PUD document, so I went into the PUD document, that states that with the approval of the PMDRC, a parcel served by a private road, which is my property, can be 25 feet from the back of the curb, which is my property, and also my neighbor. I am not the only property in Watercrest that I mean, there are other properties that have setback issues. One I would cite is 2332 Cheshire Lane. They are 13.5 feet. As it stands now, I was actually surprised by this, to do this change, because I called my architect, and frankly, had I known about this in advance, I obviously would not be sitting here. This was, I mean, I read the documents very carefully, and there was no mention in the Pelican Marsh documents or the Watercrest documents that tell you have to refer to the PUD documents because they're different, and that should really be clearly stated. So I will have to redo every single page of my plan. I was surprised, but it is the case, because that just affects the whole building. So the plans will have to be redone. This is going to set me months back, and part of the wishes of the Watercrest community was that I would get this done before season starts, at least get the building up, and I have a builder scheduled. I may lose him because he slotted me for mid-June, and we've done everything within compliance. So there are minor revisions on the plans, just minor little things that can be done quickly and accepted, but I can't do them if I have to do a whole new set of plans. Forget that, then the revisions will have to wait. I may have to find a new builder to start the process all over again, and this might cost me more money. And just for 2.5 feet or so.
You have a picture of the addition to show everyone?
I do, I actually do, and I'll get that out. The reason for my addition was that I have a younger brother who was shot in a home invasion, and I would like to care for him. This is the sole reason I cannot convert my house to do this. Denying this would not only extend the expenses that I'm incurring right now, they're about $14,000 a month, but it would also deny me the opportunity to be with him and care for him, because this is gonna greatly delay me. And I've been through a lot here trying to get this done. So it's just, I'm sorry, I didn't, it's just with great anguish and despair that I tell you this. I've lost my whole way here. Give me a moment, please.
All the renderings and much of the summary that's been provided by the resident has been shared with the members that are not here, correct?
The board of directors, she sent in actually, I got that, I can share it from you. Can I bring that with me?
Well, I just want to point out the fact that, Uwe and George and Matt have all received
Mrs.
pictures of what's
She
been
did
described.
send, her recommendation to the board, and that was also shared with, Uwe and George. Correct? Uwe and George, you received it, correct? You're on mute.
Yes.
Okay, they received it.
So. Well,
Well, I think we understand. We've had an opportunity to read the documents, we've had the opportunity to listen to your pitch. And I think, what we need to do is make a decision and move on to the next few items on our agenda. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we?
yes, I'm just asking the board for this 2.5 or so feet that nobody's even gonna notice, to please grant me this easement so I can get on with this. And just ask yourselves, if you were in my situation, how you would be thinking, or how you would be feeling for something as small as this. I don't really believe that this is a big deal. And there's other examples in the neighborhood. So I'm just saying, please, just let your conscience be your guide. This thing has already been approved. It just would set me back months now to have to start redoing everything at a tremendous expense. And, I might also add that I just feel there's a legal liability with this because it's so unfair. But that's really not it at all. I just want to get it done, please, please. So I think I'm done.
Okay.
Can you share with the community the size of your addition?
Of
How many
course.
square feet?
It's about,
It's not relevant for this discussion. I mean, we have a very clear decision made on a specific variance.
Only the 2.5 feet matter to us. We have nothing to say about the
If
rest.
you want to talk about that in your water crest meetings, that's fine, but.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Start off.
Is it time for board comments? Yes. I wanted to say that, my heart is with you and I appreciate your presentation. And I'm sorry about the stress that your families are going through, especially if related to your brother. This is terrible. And I know that having your plans and your contractor and being ready to move forward is also very stressful for you. And I'm sorry about the stress also. Just so that I don't appear to be uninformed or to be making a decision without thinking it through, I was wanting to let my friends here know why I came to a conclusion that I came to and why I feel like I had no choice on how I have to vote today. And this is sad, but you remember the word collateral damage. And sometimes when you do one thing, something else is affected in a big way, like the butterfly, and causing the storm in Tokyo. We have a problem here at the board. She's telling the truth that there are other houses around Pelican Marsh who have 25 years ago slipped through the cracks, and they might have gotten built where they were not supposed to be built without permission. And we checked with our lawyer about that, and there's a legal, we have legal responsibilities for that which we gave permission for, and we have never given permission for someone to build a house beyond these boundaries. Here's a problem we have. Once we give one person permission to do this, now we can never stop giving permission, because then we will be having a biased permission system. And it can't be biased. It has to be the same for everybody. We have to treat everybody the same. And so things that slip through the cracks without permission does not have any bearing on this situation. But if we, the board, and I'm especially talking to board members right now, if we, the board, make the decision to say yes, then we must forever say yes to the hundreds of homes in Pelican Marsh who want to go 1.5 feet, 2.5 feet. And what we do know is that all the homes in Pelican Marsh are about 20, 25 years old, and they're good quality houses, but unfortunately they're on very expensive pieces of property. And people in America are getting more and more disposable income in a certain class. You know what's going to happen? People are going to want to make more and more additions and tear downs and builds. And when they do their tear downs and builds, everybody's going to push the boundary to make their house as big as possible, because it's way cheaper to build a few more square feet than it is to buy a few more square feet. Builders can build way cheaper than you can buy. And so unfortunately, if we were to say yes to this very reasonable request, we would be hand-tied forever to people in every neighborhood building big houses next to their neighbors, next to the street, and crowding up what tiny green space we have. So I am forced to vote no, and I don't like it. But for the future of Pelican Marsh, and I believe Pelican Marsh is going to be here for 500 years, for the future of Pelican Marsh, I have to vote no for those legal reasons. I just want you to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Daniel. Brian?
Yeah, I'm sympathetic as well, and I won't be redundant for what Nathaniel spoke so well about. But I'm not supportive for the reasons Nathaniel outlined.
Okay. Jim?
And I'm wearing the foundation board hat at this time. It has nothing to do with watercress. It is what has already been said. This is a dangerous precedent for the future, and I will vote no.
Okay, thank you. Uwe?
Well, I consider this to be a minor variance. I actually don't think that 2.5 feet is an issue. It does set a precedence. It clearly does. But it just means it's still a precedence based on a specific circumstance. So it is an exemption. It's not a rule change in my mind. My view is different from the other speakers.
So what's your vote, Uwe?
I vote in favor of allowing the variance of 2.5 feet.
Okay, George?
Yes, I too am sympathetic with the homeowner. I hope there's a way that this works out well, but I do have to agree with Nathaniel and Brian and Jim, that this sets a precedence that could snowball. So I would vote no as well.
Matt on the line.
Matt, yours?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I do sympathize with what is transpired, but the character and integrity of Pelican Marsh moving forward, as Nate alluded to, there are going to be tear downs, there are going to be additions to these properties. Most definitely that we have a number of single family homes, and the long range versus the short approach, I think, is the vision that we all need to have. So with that, I do vote no.
Okay. I guess I'm left. I also, appreciate your presentation. I didn't know all the personal facts. I do appreciate it and sympathize as well. But I'm with Nathaniel and the rest of the group with respect to trying to maintain the integrity of the community.
We'll go ahead and take a vote, Joe.
Yes.
I move that we go ahead and vote on this.
Second.
All in favor? Well, I'm in favor. I think the only person that
I think the favor would be of approval, so I believe that would only be Uwe.
okay. So the motion is,
Uwe, do you want to vote in favor?
Yes, I want to vote in favor of allowing the variance against, the other votes. Sorry, guys, I have a different view on this, but that's my view is different.
that's okay.
All opposed?
What's that?
Say all opposed, please.
All opposed?
Aye.
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 6 to 1.
Okay, let's move to item 5.2. You want to give us a quick overview?
A few months back, the foundation updated its design review guidelines to allow condo associations to install metal roofs on the properties. Osprey Point is wanting to do that, but the rules state that the foundation must first approve the color of the metal roof before it's used. So they have presented 3 color options they would like to get approved by the foundation, so they can then submit that to their members and then choose which color they like. So they presented 3 colors, and they are slate. They are what's called. I got it right here, Connor. So the colors are slate, which is a medium to dark gray, charcoal, which is a dark gray, and buckskin, which is technically you'd call a medium bronze color. So they would like the foundation to approve those 3 options so they can move forward with their vote, with their membership to decide which one they like best.
Paul, if I understand correctly, we're approving all 3 colors, and then their homeowners are going to choose the color of their choice out of those 3 approved colors. Is that correct?
They want to give their ownership members the chance to choose which design, but they first want to get the foundation's blessing so they can move forward.
So they're not wasting time and money.
Correct.
They have to push it back through us and somehow we deny it.
And their choices will also include traditional roofs as well, right?
Yeah, they're also giving options of tile roofs as well, and all those tile selections they've chosen are all within our current guidelines for use,
So they may not even choose a metal roof.
possibly.
Does the design review committee, Matt, if you could just, give us feedback, does the DRC feel comfortable with the colors being recommended?
Absolutely, Brian. I have had a number of meetings with the Osprey board, and they are well prepared to take it to a vote. And the narrowing down to the 3 colors, I think, is a great idea and an opportunity for their community to choose. Should they go with the engineered metal roof? And we have also had a discussion with them on the particular engineering panel profiles that they are going to use. And the 2 that they've narrowed it down to have also met the criteria that I think that we all were looking to support. And as it relates to the concrete roof, I think that, as Paul alluded to, we do have the criteria that they are within, should they go that route as well. So, yes.
Okay. All right, does any of the board members have any questions about the colors or the selection they're presenting to us?
I only have, once again, another comment. The reason I'm going to vote yes on this is not because I love the colors, and I do. It's because, once again, legally, my hands are tied. We have a code, and it says you must pick medium to brown on these 2 scales. And they have picked medium to brown, those 2 scales. Medium to dark, I'm sorry, medium to dark, true. On either gray or brown, medium to dark. We can't choose light and no other scales. And so the problem is if we vote no, then they can sue and we will lose, because you have to vote yes if they're meeting the code. They're meeting the code, so I feel like I have to vote yes. I just want to explain that.
Okay, I guess if there's no questions, we have a motion.
Joe, I understand also the other hardware that they're looking at, and there's still a completion of the project. All of this, as I understand from Matt, is compatible and within our color codes.
That's correct.
Correct.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so approved. The next item up is approval of appointment to the pickleball advisory committee. Brian, you want to take that?
Yeah, so, the Ball Advisory Committee has made a recommendation to the board to nominate Cindy Villarosa to be a member of that committee. And I so motion that Cindy be added to that committee.
Okay.
Second.
So,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Sounds like that was unanimous, so approved. And then the last item is a request for research to implement electronic voting in Pelican Marsh. Nathaniel, you want to lead that discussion?
Yeah, tonight I'm the explainer. As you know, whenever we need you to vote on something, such as allowing us to spend money or choosing a board member or something like that, what we do now is we hire a company to print up your ballot plus the flyer and stick it in a big envelope and then buy a overpriced stamp to put on that envelope, and then buy another envelope so you can mail it back to us, and then buy a stamp for that envelope, put it in there, and send out 2,000 of them. And then we have to wait 2 weeks to give you time for your mail to catch up with you because you've had it sent up north and you came back down here. And so anyway, this is a crazy waste of money. And the law will not allow us to stop doing that for someone who insists on it. So if you're very old school and all you understand is paper, we're gonna keep doing that. But the board is now getting ready to vote on is, should we go ahead and investigate and choose an electronic voting system where we ask you, would you like to be a member of electronic voting system? And then when it's time to vote, we'll send you a free email and you'll get your free ballot and you'll click on it for free and we'll get it back for free in about a millisecond. And so that seems a little bit better to me. And so I'd like to request that this board do this, and that's why we're putting that on the agenda, because it just seems like we're in the 1900s, maybe the 1910s. So anyway, that's pretty much all it is to it. We don't think it's gonna be very expensive. We hope that once we get it, you sign up for it and let us quit wasting all these stamps.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Any board member have any comments or questions about the?
I want to ask Gary Carbone, because he was here way back. Didn't we have this discussion before?
We did, but there was some regulation that the state had at that point in time that kind of threw a curve to the whole scenario. And I think you need to check and make sure that we're still within the state statute that allows us to make that decision to prevent somebody, because even if somebody has the ability to use the internet, okay, and they don't want to, they can tell you. That's what you just said.
Right.
However, if somebody doesn't use the internet and they haven't got a clue, I can tell you, I know at least 2 people, we got one in our own community, we have to hand carry everything over to them. But I would really take a look and make sure the state ordinance as it stands now allows us to make that choice. It might be dictated to what issues can be voted electronic. That's the other thing.
We'll make sure we check that out, and it's volunteer only. It's only the homeowners that wish for it.
Yeah, I do know that Pelican Bay has put this in. So, and I think, Osprey Point is just,
Uses, electronic system.
so. Nobody has any other questions, I'd like.
I like the motion that we move through this as it's written. Oh, wait a minute, Matt might have a question. Matt?
Yeah, I just wanted to state, and this really is this move that they're looking to implement, I think is really kind of critical, because Paul has the actual numbers, but the amount of snowbirds that we have, it goes potentially to their Pelican Marsh address and then has to be transferred to all the other second homes that these individuals have. So I think this is a very, very effective way of advancing into the 21st century. So I do support it.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Okay, maybe member comments?
Oh, Joe, go ahead.
There's a lot of people online.
My name's Joan Vogel and I live in Egret Squawk. I'm also a member of the board of directors of Egret Squawk, and electronic voting has been a topic of conversation among our neighborhood board. And I wonder if the information you gleaned from researching this would be something you'd be happy to share with the neighborhood
Absolutely.
associations as well. I did take the seminar for board members, and this was very specifically addressed by the attorney who led the seminar recently, and it is very much within the statutes and being adopted in a lot of different communities. And but it does require two steps. One, that the community agree to make this option available. And second of all, the paper, as you said, remains available to those who want paper, and the individual residence owners must actually opt in to the electronic voting. But there was just something that came out from the attorney. The state has made that even easier than it used to be. It used to have to be done in writing, which could have been an email. Now it can be done through the service that provides the service to it. So it's become even easier for residents. This is super recent, that for residents to opt in to the electronic voting program that's established, but the paper ballots must remain an option.
Good information, thank
Thank
you.
you.
There's a question online, Paul, is it related to the topic at hand? And also, I didn't know if the board members online had comments.
So just make sure you speak in your microphones.
Okay, do we want to move forward with the motion?
If George and Uwe are fine, I'm ready to move forward.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
I motion that we move forward with this implement voting.
okay, second,
Well, just to clarify, your motion to move forward with the research.
The investigation,
Yeah.
and choosing one.
correct.
We want to investigate and choose the electronic voting system for Pelican Marsh.
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Sounds like we're unanimous on that one as well. Any other board member comments? Any other resident comments?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people online, they can't hear you, brother.
just one comment, go back to the first issue that you had. Her architect was at fault. Okay? The PUD that was approved for this project, okay, is what is the standard. Okay? If it wasn't the standard, the county wouldn't come back to you asking you to make the exception that takes them off the hook. So I think you might want to insert into the information package when people apply for an approval of a certain improvement, that they understand that has to also be approved through the PUD documents. The PUD documents are not part of the overall documents. They're the county documents in which they approved the project initially. They are the mandate. The poor lady unfortunately hired a bad architect.
I think you're right, and I think that's a good information because this confusion would have been eliminated with just that one sentence. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn?
So motion.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Aye.